It's a new day for America. I've done an analysis now of the new tax reform or the tax cut, whatever you want to call it, by the GOP and President Trump, and it is a very big deal. It is hugely positive for America, for jobs, for wages, for lowered costs of goods and services to consumers, and much more. You know, many times people say, Mike, why don't you be more positive about things? Well, this is me being positive. This is incredible good news. And, and I find it amazing then that people on the left are like, well, you can't be positive about Trump things. You can't be positive about taxes. Oh, really? Well, this is really positive stuff. This is good for America. Let me explain why. And thank you for joining me, Mike Adams, the Health Ranger here, editor of naturalnews.com and publisher of Trump.news as well. So, okay, what's so positive about this tax plan? Well, two things. We'll talk about the corporate side and then also the personal income tax side as well. Now, on the corporate side, this is a big, big deal. And as a business owner, I'm deeply involved in, understanding the cash flow problems of small business in America. This new tax plan will make small business more successful, which doesn't mean that business owners are going to sit on hordes of cash and keep money away from everybody else and just hold on to it. No, small business owners almost always reinvest money into the business. They try to grow the business, which means hiring more people, spending more money on goods and services that they need, building expansion, for example, or just, growing the manufacturing base or whatever it is they do, more advertising, more marketing sometimes. So the more money, well, look, this tax reform plan essentially allows more people to keep more of their own money. That's the bottom line, corporations and individuals. And when business owners are allowed to keep more of their own money, i.e., send less to Washington, what do they do with that money? Do they hoard it? Do they buy a private jet? No. In most cases, they put the money back into the business, which means job creation. It means that more people will have more jobs. It means bonuses paid to employees or higher wages. As an example of this, by the way, we saw AT&T immediately issued a press release saying they're going to give a $1,000 bonus to, what was it, like 200,000 employees? That's a lot. That's a lot of people getting a big bonus. Comcast did a similar thing, and some banks did the same thing. Big bonuses. And immediately you heard people on the left screaming about, it's so terrible, they're giving bonuses to people. Really? That's not bad news. That's great news. If Obama were president and AT&T had announced a $1,000 bonus to each of 200,000 people, CNN would be celebrating it as what great leadership by Obama. Amazing, a new day for America. But because Trump was president, or is president, at the time that this took place, the left-wing media say, it's so terrible, it's just a PR stunt, it's not even real. But it is real. People are getting these paychecks. It's real money in their pockets. This is real. People are getting $1,000 bonuses in huge numbers all across the board because corporations now are able to send less money to Washington, keep more money back into the business, so they're investing it in their employees. It only makes good sense. It's astonishing to me that the left hates the fact that employees are getting more money from their employers. What does the left stand for, if not this? What do the labor unions stand for? Aren't they supposed to make sure that employees get more money from their employers? And so in this case, when employees get all these big bonuses, the left goes insane. It's so terrible. It's just so fake. It's just a stunt. My God, are you people so stupid that you can't even get behind employees making more money or getting a bigger paycheck? I mean, for God's sake, what do you stand for? And the answer, obviously, is they stand for anything that hurts Trump. They can't stand to see Trump winning, even though he's winning so much that, like he said before the election, we might get tired of him winning because he's winning so much. But getting back to the practical aspects of this, I've looked at the new tax code, and it turns out that corporations that used to be strongly incentivized to offshore their profits, i.e., push them off to Ireland or other tax jurisdictions, which meant that the profits had to remain offshore. Those companies are now going to be incentivized to keep their profits in the United States, which means we are going to have a windfall. Mark my words, a windfall of money staying in the US and even coming back to the US. We are talking about trillions of dollars of offshore profits in major corporations like Apple and Google and Facebook and many others, not just tech industry giants, but oil industry companies and publishers and everybody else. There's going to be so much money coming back into the United States that it will create another stock market boom on top of the current market bubble that already exists. In other words, the market's going up. This is my assessment. The market is going up for some period of time. The crash that I've been warning about since 2008 is delayed. Now, there's still going to be a day of reckoning. It's coming. But it's going to be delayed by all this cash coming back into the United States because of these tax code changes. And these corporations that are now suddenly only going to have to pay 21% instead of 35% or whatever it was, they are now going to invest in growth, which means more jobs, more expansion, setting up more offices in different cities, perhaps. I mean, this is good for employees. This is good for small business owners. This is good for everyone. There are no losers when corporations pay less tax because corporations pass through all taxes to consumers who buy their products or services. In other words, corporations don't even really pay taxes. They just pass them through to the end user, which is you. So when corporations pay less tax, it means they can lower their prices. They have to because it's a competitive marketplace. Well, except Big Pharma, which is a monopoly. They never lower prices. But in a free market, which is most of the economy, people will have to compete. And so if the cost of doing business goes lower because taxes are lower, that means these businesses are going to lower their prices or perhaps not raise prices that were planned to be raised, which means a lot of goods and services that you are purchasing every day right now could either get more affordable or the typical price increases that they would have been subjected to would be delayed. So that's what you're going to see. You should look for this in the grocery stores, in the hardware stores. Look for this over the next 6 months. You're going to see this happening. So corporations include small businesses like my business, the Health Ranger store. Because of this tax reform, we are going to be able to invest more in equipment, in laboratory instrumentation, in larger building facilities and fulfillment facilities, manufacturing facilities, all that. Our video studio, we're now planning to make it even larger and expand it in more ways than we had previously thought about. This is happening. This is great for America. And so that's good news. See, told you I'd bring you some good news. Now, what about on the personal side? The mainstream media, which lies constantly, all they do is lie. They had a lot of people convinced that this tax reform bill was going to cost them money, that they were going to pay more money. Well, if you look at the tax brackets, it's very generous, and it means that almost everyone pays less money. You know, what used to be a 28% tax bracket is now a 24%. Actually, the bracket it goes higher under 24%, which means you're paying a lot less. The bracket that used to be 36 or 35% or something in that range is now 32%. You know, they don't line up exactly on the boundaries of the brackets, but everybody is paying less personal income tax under the system, or nearly everyone. The only people that are going to get socked by this is people who live in high tax states where the limit of how much local tax they can deduct from their federal taxes, that is now limited at $10,000 per year. But that is a good thing for America too, because finally it will expose the very high spending of governments in these high tax states like Illinois, like New York, like California, and so on. These high tax states, the citizens there are going to revolt against their own state governments when they have to start paying the actual taxes to their state governments instead of having the rest of the country subsidize their state taxes. You see, when you can write off all your state taxes against your federal tax liability, in essence, it means that people who live in low tax states like Texas or Florida end up having to pay federal taxes to make up for the deductions that were taken by people who live in high tax states like California. And effectively, it means that people in California are getting a free ride. And isn't it interesting how so many people on the left say that, well, the rich should pay their fair share? I think Californians should pay their fair share. I think people who live in high tax states should pay their fair share. If you're going to live in a high tax state, why should the rest of the country subsidize the spending habits of your local government, which has no financial or fiscal discipline? You see, if you live in a high tax state, New York, Illinois, Washington State, Oregon, Hawaii, for God's sake, then you are responsible for paying your local state taxes. Why should everybody else in the country who lives in Indiana pay for your taxes in Hawaii? It doesn't make any sense. If your government has a spending problem, that's your local issue to deal with. That shouldn't be pawned off on everybody else in the country. So if you end up paying more taxes under this tax plan, it's not that you're paying more to the federal government, it's that you're actually paying more taxes in your local state that's finally being exposed. Where it used to be covered up, it used to be swept under the rug, now it's finally being exposed. And that's a good thing. It means that overall, there will be pressure on those states to lower the amount of money they confiscate from their own citizens. And that's a good thing. This is positive all the way around. Now, if you're really, really wealthy and you live in California and you have a lot of state taxes that you pay, I don't know what the tax rate is out there. What is it, like 12% or some ridiculous amount? So let's say you make $10 million a year in California. Say you're some super rich person out there living like a king. You're in Hollywood. You took over Harvey Weinstein's position because he's out after molesting and raping all the women in Hollywood. So now you took over Weinstein's position. You're making $10 million a year. You're paying $1.2 million a year to the state of California as a tax rate, state taxes. Well, you can only deduct $10,000 from federal taxes now out of that $1.2 million, which means you're paying $1.19 million, if I did the math right, to the state of California, because you're getting that. You're getting that $10,000 deduction off your federal taxes that helps cover that, but the rest is $1.19 million. You got to pony up that cash and pay it to the state of California, where before this tax reform, you could deduct $1.2 million from your federal taxes. You see, which meant the rest of the people in the country were subsidizing your $1.2 million of California state taxes, which is not fair. You want to pay your fair share? You want to talk about paying your fair share? People who are wealthy, who live in high tax states, should pay their fair share. And I find it amazing that up until this tax reform went through, all these leftists were talking about what an honor it is to pay more tax, that when taxes go up, it's just a bigger contribution to a better society. It's a contribution. It's not a penalty, it's a contribution. That's why the rich should pay more. So why isn't that true now? Why don't the rich in California love the idea that they're going to just make contributions now to the state of California? It's just a contribution of $1.2 million plus whatever you pay on federal taxes, just contribution. Why do you have any problem with paying more taxes if you've been arguing that for years? You've been arguing that everybody should pay more taxes. Now it's your turn. Pay your fair share. So you just flip that right around on the leftists who say, oh, they got to. Why don't rich people pay their fair share? Yeah, why don't rich people living in California and New York pay their fair share? Well, now they get to, and I can't wait to see the mass exodus happen. Actually, I should say, by the way, if you're living in California and New York and you're now going to pay a huge amount of tax, uh, please think twice before moving to Texas. Texas doesn't want people unless you have the Texas spirit. Just as a side note here, Texas is for people who enjoy liberty, who own guns, who love America, who defend the Constitution, and who aren't afraid of hard work. Texas is a place for people who are rugged individuals. And if you're not one of those people, don't come to Texas. Overall, this whole tax thing is so positive for America that we're going to see benefits for many, many years to come. This is something that is a hallmark of the Trump presidency. And when people start to see more money in their take home paychecks starting next year, this could have a significant positive impact on the 2018 elections for Republicans. So watch for that, because that could be a truly a major factor in all of this. You know, the Democrats are thinking that they're going to win the 2018 elections and sweep the House and take the Senate, and then immediately they're going to vote to impeach Trump. Well, I don't think they're going to win the House and the Senate. They might win some seats, but they're not going to take over both houses of the Congress, because people are going to start seeing the benefits very quickly now of having more take-home pay and more jobs and more opportunity. Did you know that the unemployment rate among African Americans is now at, what is it, like a 30-year low? There are more black folks getting jobs in America right now under President Trump than ever had jobs under Obama. In fact, Obama, as I've said many times, Obama did so much to destroy this country. The guy was just a mass destroyer of culture and the economy and law and order and so much more. And he's being exposed now day by day. He was just recently exposed for covering up for the Hezbollah terrorists. He gave them a pass. He told the DOJ and DHS to back off so that Hezbollah could run cocaine into America in order to appease Iran, which Obama wanted to give nuclear weapons. Because Obama, I'm telling you, Obama was a sleeper cell. I said this before. Obama was a sleeper cell. He secretly wants to destroy Israel, and he wants to destroy America. And he wants Iran to nuke Israel. And he has handed them the opportunity to do just that. He laundered billions of dollars in money and had it flown into Iran on a military cargo plane, pallets of cash, so that Iran could build nuclear weapons. That's all on the record. That's not some theory out there. That's all that's been covered in the news, quite comprehensively covered. In any case, this is all good news for America. This tax reform bill is awesome. It's major. It shows that Trump is kicking ass, getting things done. It also repealed the Obamacare mandate, which is a whole nother victory that I'm going to have to talk about on a separate podcast. The Obamacare mandate was, you talk about government tyranny and oppression. It's like the government was putting a gun to your head, forcing you to buy some crappy insurance plan that you didn't want, you couldn't afford, and it didn't even cover you anyway, very much. And that has finally been overturned. It has, I mean, it's been rescinded by law. Now, the Obamacare mandate is history. Obamacare is now finally going to collapse. It's always been headed for collapse, but now we've taken the money out from under it. And maybe we can restore something resembling healthcare freedom in America, you know, in the days and months ahead. This is an incredible new dawn of a new age for America. Now, I still believe there are forces out there that are going to try to crash the stock market in order to blame Trump. There are many, many forces that want to destroy this president. But for the first time, it's starting to look like Republicans are realizing that, hey, if they would just get on board with the Trump train here, they could get some things done. They could actually do something good for America. they could actually pass laws that benefit this country and reduce the tyranny and reduce the oppression and all that. I think we may be looking at a new era of cooperation between Republicans and President Trump, which means next year should be very interesting. 2018 should be a lot of interesting successes, legislatively speaking, happening. And that's good news for America, too. Maybe we can increase border security, maybe even get the wall built. We'll see. Some good things going to happen. Of course, the Democrats will try to stop all of this. The Democrats will try to crush Trump and crush any progress in America. They don't want people to have more take-home money. They don't want corporations to succeed. They don't want America to have border protection. They don't want taxes lowered, for God's sake. Democrats hate America. They hate this country. They hate the Constitution. They hate the founders, and they hate Trump. And that hatred comes out every single day. It's so obvious, and it's so sickening, and it's so destructive. But they are losing big time. And they're going to lose elections in 2018 because of this tax reform bill as well. So this is a good day for America. This is a great day for America. Finally some traction in Washington. Now, I think that the actual tax rate for corporations and individuals should be zero? Yes, I do. Because taxes, they don't need your money in Washington. They can create all the money they want. They do it all the time. They don't need your money. Taxes are just a form of control. The actual tax rate should be zero. That would be a great day. But at least we're moving in that direction. We have some tax relief. That's good news. Yeah, I'll cover that in another podcast if you're wondering how that math works. No, the government doesn't need your money to fund itself. They create all the money they want, people. It's called the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury. They just make up the money out of thin air. They don't need your personal income tax. They don't need your $600 a year, whatever you pay. They don't need it. They can make up all their own money. They do it all the time. Well, anyway, I'll cover that in another podcast. But the point is we're moving in the right direction. So that's a good day for America. Well, a great day, I would say, for America. And it's a great day for small business in America as well, which is where most of the jobs come from. So you can read more about this at trump.news, as well as naturalnews.com, or hear my podcast at healthrangerreport.com. This is great news. I'm happy to be able to bring you this positive news, and just watch for the leftists to say, "Oh, how dare you say something positive about tax reform? How dare you be positive? Why you have to be so positive?" See, it's like the same people like, "Why you have to be so negative?" Now then you say something positive. Why? How come you have to be so positive? Yeah, just because they're little gremlins. They're just evil little gremlin demons. They just hate everything. They especially hate good news when it's attributed to President Trump. So enjoy, and have a great day, because we have a great future ahead of us. Take care.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.
Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.